10, Sunday, April 23rd, 2017. Be a part of the International Gospel Revival and Ministry Night, featuring Evangelist Bridget Blotcher, Marlon Anderson, and Second Chance. Marigot Reunion 2017. You don't want to miss it. Be there. Come, let's make Marigot great again.
This ad is supported by Q95 FM Radio and the Country Style brand.
Let me thank all of you that were able to join us this morning for the hot set. I'll be back in the radio this afternoon for Talk on the Block. Until then, people, be good. Coming up at 10:15, Health Vibes from Jolly's Pharmacy. Want to encourage you to have a good day, okay? Take care. Bye-bye.
This episode of Health Vibes is brought to you by the brand you trust the most, Jolly's Pharmacy Limited, leading the way in healthcare.
Introducing Jolly's Pharmacy, brand new website www.jollies.dm. It's your time to jump the line. Shop now at jollies.dm and have your items delivered in the comfort of your office. No more standing in line. No need to use your lunch hour to shop. Hassle-free shopping, safe and secure. Jollies.dm features rush delivery 1 hour, in-store pickup, regular delivery 5 p.m. cut-off time 4 p.m. It's your time to jump the line. Visit us at www.jollies.dm. Jollies Pharmacy, leading the way in healthcare.
Raise a cheer for the company that believes in you, securing your future. First Domestic Insurance Company, a 100% Dominican-owned company, as local as the street where you live. 100% secure, with A-listed reinsurers, the best in the world, settling claims first, fast, fair. Property insurance, personal content, fire and allied perils, loss of profit, public liability, employer's liability, group and individual personal accident, travel, burglary, cash in transit, machinery all risks, fidelity guarantee, motor vehicles and marine cargo. Located on King George V Street in Roseau. Call 449-8202. In Portsmouth, 445-3494. The agency's resource management, 440-2159. Carib Interconnect, 445-8232. First Domestic Insurance Company. Come get a premium quote today.
Jolly's Pharmacy presents a new and innovative radio program, Health Vibes. Health Vibes. Every Wednesday morning on Q95 FM. Health Vibes, hosted by Carlton Lando and Pearl Fontaine Butler. Health Vibes from 10:15 to 11 a.m. It's not just your average talk show. It's appealing and educational with a bit of humor. Real vibes on your health. Now that's the vibe. Health Vibes on Q95 every Wednesday from 10:15 to 11 a.m. with Pearl and Carlton. Tune in.
Welcome to Health Vibes, Dominica's most foremost program on health, medicine, nutrition, and wellness, featuring the latest news on conventional and alternative medicine and healthcare. Now, here's your host, Carlton Lando, and co-host, Pearl Fontaine Butler.
Good morning to you, Dominica. We are so happy that you have joined us on another episode of Health Vibes. We cannot wait for you to actually hear what we are discussing today. It's a very important topic, very relevant to us. Pearl, good morning.
Good morning, Carlton. Good morning, Dominica. Good morning to all of our wonderful listeners. It's such a wonderful day today.
It is a wonderful day, and many people, like myself, struggling with the flu-like symptoms.
and myself, I'm just recovering. Well, and recovery is good because it just shows that, our immune systems are really, strong and able to withstand and fight, what is going on, in and around the atmosphere. And so, I'm thankful for that.
That's it. So if you're home and you are battling the flu, remember your ginger. Remember to have some good old ginger tea as frequently as you can. You maybe put a dash of garlic in that as well. Help boost up your immune system. Have a sea bath. That's a very good way of cleansing the respiratory tract, And have a good swim. That in itself will help with your boosting up the immune system. But Pearl, you look lovely this morning, as always.
Thank you. Carlton's always giving me compliments, right? And then when I go home, my husband says, "So, what did Carlton say about your outfit today?" So it's good conversation for when I get home. But, we do have some news items for you in the region, topping the news in health this week. And this is quite important because our culture is one that loves corned beef. And I'm sure many of you have heard what has been happening, eat corned beef. So the Brazilian companies Well, I'll take it from the top. There's been a corned beef ban, and amid fears of rotten processed meat being used in its products, the government has banned the importation of corned beef from Brazil, where 99.5% of the local product comes from. The public is also being urged not to eat any corned beef until the relevant tests have been done.
That comes from Jamaica.
This is coming from Jamaica, right? In a statement yesterday, the Ministry of Industry, Commerce, Agriculture and Fisheries advised of the decision over the scandal in the South American country that has been triggered by reports from Brazilian authorities that several major Brazilian meat processors have been selling rotten beef and poultry. And this is quite alarming. The Brazilian companies implicated supply the 99.5% of corned beef imported into Jamaica. An emergency meeting was called yesterday from which the following decisions were agreed. 1, a temporary hold will be placed on all permits for the import of corned beef from Brazil. 2, as a precautionary measure, all corned beef currently on the shelves will be withdrawn. 3, the National Food Recall Committee will meet immediately to determine the next steps and inform when it will be safe to consume the product. Last week, the Brazilian police named BRF the world's largest meat producer and JBS the biggest poultry exporter, along with smaller companies, in a 2-year corruption probe. The police alleged that the companies paid inspectors and politicians to overlook the processing of rotten meat and exports with fraudulent documentation and even traces of salmonella. Now, this is from the Reuters news agency. China and the European Union have already curtailed meat imports from Brazil. And in the interim, the Bureau of Standards from Jamaica will conduct chemical test profiles to ascertain the contents of corned beef on the market. Carlton, you seem to be very speechless. I myself, I'm not I've never, ever been a lover of corned beef. In fact, years ago, when my grandmother would cook it, I would refuse to eat it. To me, it's not real. I've always had this, idea that it's just not real. It's just not real food. So, your thoughts? I would love to hear what you have to say.
I just think this is really disturbing. I know that even our local Ministry of Health and Ministry of Agriculture are paying close attention to this news item. I saw that on DNO yesterday. But I think this is really crazy. That you're talking about, animals that may have been strangled, animals that may have been very, very ill. And they are going to be used, cattle are going to be used, so I've always said, Pearl, that we are the culprits. When I say we, human beings, because of greed, money, and it all boils down to money, that even the people who took the bribes, it's money. And they care less about the lives of others and the impact that these decisions will have on health systems, on populations. You're going to have people getting very, very ill and maybe can even end up having some type of malignancy due to the consumption of those types of foods. So I think it's really, really bad. I mean, it seems like we are our own enemies. We're trying to kill people just because we want to make money. This is really, really, really terrible.
Very true. Well, we have some wonderful guests in studio, and I kind of want to get their take on this. So let me just introduce them. We have 2 wellness coaches, Dr. Sybil Allen Jones, who is a wellness architect, and Terry Henry, an ecotherapy mentor. What are your views on this news item? Good morning to you.
Good morning to everyone in Dominica and the wide world. Well, as Carlton rightly says, it's about profit motive. And I think that one of the things that we have to look at is that we're so disconnected from our values in the society these days that people can actually, be aware of what's going on. CEOs in the company, people who were doing all of the aspects of it knowingly doing this. And that's the part that's really very frightening and very disturbing. But what it also says to us is that we really need to get back to the foundation of eating real food, eating fresh food, eating healthy food, knowing where your food source is coming from. And the closer you are to your food source, Brazil, why are we bringing in food from Brazil when a place like Dominica can be self-sufficient and provide for its citizens? So we really need to get back to understanding the basics and the foundation of well-being. If we continue to go the route of convenience, which something like corned beef is convenience, it doesn't take much time to open up a can and put it in, the frying pan. But do you know what you're actually consuming? You don't. When at least if you have the meat and you've seen, the butcher, it came from, La Plaine, then it was killed a few hours before that, and it's likely in a better shape. But this way, nothing. So I think it's something that we really need to be paying more attention to.
Terry, what are your thoughts? What do you have to say on this?
Yeah, I think, well, good morning, first of all. I mean, I really echo everything that everybody has said already. This is the price we pay for convenience. And what we need to realize, I think, as human beings all over the world is that convenience is one big inconvenience. It actually, the more we try to do things faster, there's that saying like, more haste, less speed.
Yes.
When you try to do things quicker, you actually put yourself back. So I think this there is a movement towards, there's a slow food movement going around the world right now. I think in Dominica we're not that far from that. We have a lot of people that can cook amazing food, local foods, and it's fresh and tasty and wonderful. So let's just, let's use that as a way now for us to enhance our local cuisine. Let's use this as a wake-up call and say, what, we already had it right. Our local thing is best, so let's stick to that.
Nice.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree.
We have a caller.
Good morning,
caller.
Yes, good morning, Galton.
Good morning to you, my dear.
Good morning to the other people that you have there with you.
Yes.
Galton, I just want to share a short thing.
Yes.
Left to me, I do not believe corned beef would ever be bought on a supermarket. Because when I was very, very young, and I'm going up person now, but when I was very, very young, I opened a tin of corned beef. And I'm a person that, I don't know, I'm very particular, whatever. I take the fork and I clean it, I say skin, little white skin and those kind of things. And I discard it, and up to a day like today. I just think of rats, dogs. That one came to my mind.
Yeah.
And from that, I've never eaten corned beef up to a day like today. Corned beef is not my friend. Thank God that I don't eat corned beef.
Yes.
All right.
Take care, my dear.
Thank you. And you find that many people will feel that way. For me, just looking at it, it just looked like dog food. Like, why would I be eating that,
I bought it for my dog a few weeks ago.
You see what I'm saying? So a lot of people would have those same sentiments,
Well, you see, but Pearl, the other thing about it is that I think, and that's where Dr. Jones made a very good point, it's re-education. Because let's go back maybe 15 years ago, 20 years ago, in the 90s, where banana production was at its peak. Provisions were in abundance, and many of us who consumed these types of foods, we were classified as poor people. Because it was the poor people that ate the bananas more, and children would even tease you if you had banana for lunch, and if you were sent to school with plantain fried for your recess, as we would call it, people would tease you like that's not real recess. You need bread and salami, or you need bread and hot dogs. And many of us grew up with that perception that these were the bourgeois or the ideal food to eat. The macaroni and cheese, the all the tin stuffs. They were, unlike your mother would get coolie or type of fish and fry it in the morning to give you to go to school. You don't want to eat that because you were teased. So it comes back to the re-education. What is ideal food? What is good food? That we need to learn as consumers to be able to make that decision as to, you know what, I should not be introducing my child to this. I should not be buying this. Because even when we go, people feel glorified to have your big cat with all these things in it. And if you see somebody else with a cut with almost minimal thing, it's like this person going broke. So it's a lot of consumer education.
But you know what's so wonderful about what you're saying? Recently, I had the experience of going into one of the supermarkets and just browsing, and I found a bag of peeled Dashin. And I was so amazed, and it had this beautiful picture of a leaf, and it said Dominica on it. Yeah. And I found that, wow, for me, that was hope. We're moving in the right direction. And I was so pleased to see that, because this is what I want as an advocate of health and wellness, for health and wellness. I want people to push what's local. Right. I want us to eat our locally grown foods. I want us to be able to go to the supermarkets and say, okay, I would like a bag of Dashin, I'd like a bag of fig, I'd like this, I'd like that. And go home and prepare the meal and be so satisfied knowing that you're eating what is grown from our soil. You know, there's something great about that. We have a caller. Good morning, caller.
Blessings to you and yours.
Good morning. Good morning,
staff.
Good morning, Per.
And to your distinguished guest. Carlton, I'm still waiting on the WhatsApp.
I know.
So that when I'm not home and I have my tablet, I can send my messages out still.
I know.
Okay. I want to say, it is sad on what is going on, but I'm glad for the internet. The internet good and it's bad. And like what you said just now, certain foods were for the poor. I know saltfish was for the poor. Now that is a delicacy and it gets so expensive. Very expensive. Tuna, as you said, was for the poor. Now people people use that every day. But we need to get back to the basic. I heard a woman on one of your stations there yesterday was talking about yard fowls. Yeah. That she don't eat the yard fowls, but to me, there's some Indian doctors here in this country, and they don't go and buy the chicken off those chickens where we go. That thing, they're like the yard fowls. They go and they buy yard fowls from the locals here. You see that they are the best fowls.
Yes.
But what I'm saying, I work in a processing plant. That is the Pine Hill Dairy.
Yes.
And they have supervisors, inspectors, the health inspector, everybody there to test those drinks and the milk before they were canned. So as you said, the dollar, you can tell me that somebody can bribe somebody so much to send dirty meat and food for persons. I gone back. I know, yes, chemicals, because people putting a lot of chemicals in the earth to grow the food. But I gone back to my ground provision, and for me, meat is not a thing for me. I have sufficient money that I can do it full time.
Yes.
But it is sad. It is very, very sad. Everybody can't go. Saltfish are expensive. The cheapest thing maybe, and that expensive too, because I think you're getting a tin of corned beef at least for something here. Yeah, I know if you would get a one cheaper, because I don't really buy corned beef either. Yeah. But people use it for sangries, like when you go into picnics and you have parties and things. So now they have to discard that. But as I would say again, it's very sad. And what the government needs to do in each of these countries, when things come in, test the things first before they let people put them on the shelf. They come in the container and they go straight to the supermarkets, and then it should be not only the security, like custom officers, and then they should have probably somebody from the Standard Institute to test to see if it is something good that we can use.
Thank you very much, caller. Keep on listening.
I just wanted to add to what Carlton was saying, because I think it's important that we understand from a psychological point of view that affluence is something that has shifted our cultures over the past 20, 30, 40 years. And by that, people are wanting to move away from what they consider to be poor man's ways of living. And so as a result of that, they feel that the convenience lifestyle is something that they're proud of because it makes them feel like they've entered another class, for example. And our cultures are very class conscious and class driven. And so it is important for us to recognize that's an aspect that's operating, and how we go about re-educating people is around the fact that those choices are now creating a lot of health problems in our communities. Young children who are under 5 who are overweight, young children under 12 who are having diabetes, and so the profile for the country is very astounding in terms of the chronic non-communicable diseases. 9 out of 10 Dominicans do not eat fresh fruit and vegetables on a daily basis. I was just reading recently an article in the latest magazine, Liat magazine, In-Flight magazine, called Zing, and the article was entitled "Dominica, the Island with the Secret of Long Life." And in there, it was looking at how in the past, Dominica has had this culture of centenarianness. But as we're progressing down this path of convenience, we're not going to have that with the upcoming generations.
Wow.
And some of the things that created that was eating fruits and vegetables, getting out and getting fresh air, herbs, walking, gardening, fresh fish, and spending time with friends and family. Those were some of the elements that creates that culture. We're moving away from that now.
Yeah.
Well, we're on the subject of the news item, but we do have some great information to share with you on wellness.
Yes.
And I think we should take a break.
Yes.
And when we come back,
Definitely.
we'll be discussing this wonderful topic with Dr. Jones and Ms. Henry.
At Johnny's Pharmacy, your health and wellness is our passion. No wonder Johnny's Pharmacy provides the widest variety of the highest quality vitamin supplements and remedies for your lifestyle activity and nutritional needs. Take care of your body. Get the Multivitamins Advantage supply to enhance, promote, improve, repair, and revitalize your body. Johnny's for the complete line of preventative and curative health supplies and tonics. Rejuvenate with men's and women's one-a-day tablets. Boost concentration. Tricentrum Silver and omega-3s to build your immune and nervous system functions, strengthen your cardiovascular system, boost bone health. For stamina, get all your natural balanced megavites herbal supplements, men's daily formula for sexual energy and function, soap palmetto plus supplements to soothe joint pain. Feel like a dynamo, get up and go, catch back your mojo at Johnny's, Dominica's principal healthcare pharmacy. Why? Because you deserve more from a drugstore.
Raise a cheer for the company that believes in you, securing your future. First Domestic Insurance Company, a 100% Dominican-owned company, as local as the street where you live. 100% secure, with A-listed reinsurers, the best in the world, settling claims first, fast, fair. Property insurance, personal content, fire and allied perils, loss of profit, public liability, employer's liability, group and individual personal accident, travel, burglary, cash in transit, machinery all risk, fidelity guarantee, motor vehicles and marine cargo. Located on King George V Street in Roseau. Call 449-8202. In Portsmouth, 445-3494. The agency's resource management, 440-2159. Carib Interconnect, 445-8232. First Domestic Insurance Company. Come get a premium quote today.
You're listening to Health Vibes.
So we're back with you on, again, another episode of Health Vibes. And we did say to you that we have two very interesting guests today who will be talking about wellness and women. There is an upcoming activity, and they will be talking about that activity, but they will be broadening the discussion as it relates to wellness and women. Dr. Jones, though, that has been a term that we've been hearing recently. Wellness. Was it something that was always mentioned and not merely amplified? Or is it merely because of the advent of the chronic non-communicable diseases that we're hearing so much about wellness?
Well, I think we have probably used the term health in the past, much more so. But over the years, what we're seeing is that health is a term that really speaks more to disease management. And I think that wellness practitioners, like Terry and myself, really prefer the term well-being and wellness, because what it really speaks to is more of a holistic approach to remaining in a state of balance and remaining in a place where you're conscious and mindful about the things that you're doing. Whereas when we think of health these days, it's really a more kind of clinical, medical, and it's not really addressing the kinds of issues. Because one of the things is that we're really not in health care practicing prevention. We're just practicing managing diseases. So when we practice prevention, for example, we would be talking about your diet. So if you go to your doctor and he says, you have cancer, for example, and then you ask him a question like, should I change my diet? And they said, oh, don't worry about that. Well, of course you need to worry about that. Of course you need to change your diet. Of course you need to look at those things because it's all part of the whole package. You can't be eating, food that's, processed and the kinds of things that we were talking about, and then expect that your body is going to somehow, nourish itself from those things. If you were to put water into your car, or it wouldn't run the same way. So it's the same thing. The fuel that you put into your body, in your mind, your spirit, all of those things will have an impact on your health. So well-being encompasses a much broader perspective.
So I mean, your focus primarily today, and particularly the upcoming event, has to do with women and wellness. Why the concentration on women?
Well, I think that women have always traditionally been the nurturers in the society. They are the ones that are the caretakers. They also bring into play the values in a home. So if the woman or the mom is someone who makes a point of cooking good food, shopping with the children, with the partners, with the whole family, then the message about well-being is communicated to the family. It's also communicated to the village or the community where people live, because women gather and they talk and they share. So women have always had a traditional role of creating those situations where health and well-being is something that they create. So we feel that the health of a woman, for example, also impacts so many people. If the woman's health is not good, then everyone else in the family will also be impacted by that. So we feel that women will help to spread the message. You speak to one woman and you're speaking to 20 people. And so it's not that men, of course, men's health is a whole other issue, and men traditionally do not look after their well-being.
That's true.
And if they have a partner who helps them with that, that's good. But if they're on their own, or if they're not focused on that, they often will wait until very late in the game before they look after their health and well-being.
And I actually, because I was going to say to you, based on statistics, the mortality rate seems to be higher among men. And if you look at the more women who have lived on and their husbands have passed. And do you think, though, that the wellness message needs as well to be impacted on men as well, and men need to be more aware of this message and some of the decisions that they need to take to actually help improve their own lifestyle?
Well, interesting enough, since we've Terry and I and we've been advertising the retreat, I've gotten several calls from men who were saying, well, what about the men? And so then I say that you are absolutely important and you absolutely need to be involved. And so maybe at some point that would be something that we could do for men. And men definitely, there needs to be specific campaigns and specific ways of reaching men, because they do have differing needs than women. And so children are also very important in the whole process as well. The younger we get the message across to children, the more likely they are to go on a path where they are practicing some of the lifestyle changes that we're talking about. Children, for example, we know that in programs, school programs, where they're growing vegetables in the classroom or in the schoolyards, that children will be likely to influence their parents by saying, pick up some carrots instead of a tin of carrots, because they're saying, oh, well, the teacher told me that I should eat this and this and this. And so the younger we can get to children, the quicker, the better it will be for everyone.
And so, Terry, I have a question. As women, why is it important for us to reflect on our journey of wellness and health and nurturing? Why do you think it's important for us to do that?
It's important for women to be in tune with their health. What else do we have? in life. You know, we go through life, we're given a body, and it's our job to take care of it. And as women, we also have the honor, the miracle of giving birth to new life. So if we are not well nurtured in ourselves, and we cannot bring forth a healthy next generation. So I think there is a very much a big emphasis on women being healthy and strong, because we need to create the next generation. Also, like Seville said, that women get together. You know, it's traditional. You go back to, you know, hunter-gatherer civilization, well, tribes, I would say. The women were the ones who foraged. They collected, you know, food within the local landscapes. The men were hunting, bringing back, you know, meat for the tribe. But the women were there together. They were there with the children. They worked together. They sang together. And actually, even though the men were bringing back like big game, you know, like, I mean, we're talking about, you know, other countries maybe where they bring back, you know, big animals. Actually, the women provided the most calories for the tribes. The food that women collected, all the nuts, berries, seeds, root vegetables, were consistently providing the most for the tribe. And I think we see that now translate as, you know, women are the ones mostly in the kitchen. We're the ones that think ahead, you know. I mean, I'm always thinking 3 meals ahead for the children, you know, for the diversity of what they're eating, for, you know, how well things go together. I want them to be healthy. I want them to be strong. I'm not saying that's not a concern for men, but I think we each have our different roles, you know, and we have to respect that. And the fact that we're bringing women together, I think, is important. That there's an energy that is created when women get together, you know, that even if one man was in the room, it would change the energy. Similarly, if the men want to I think it's vital that men do a health session for themselves, because as a woman I can understand on a, you know, intellectual level about men's health, but I don't feel what you feel.
Right.
So I feel like it's important for the men to take the lead, create something, because the way you express it and do it is going to be very different from the way that we do it.
So can you give us a little preview to the workshop? Can we discuss some of the aspects that are going to be taking place so that a lot of the women who are listening can, you know, have an idea of what to expect?
Sure. The topic is take a conscious, mindful journey to your well-being. And conscious being that oftentimes we're not really, we're in such a fast-paced world these days that we're not really taking time to be aware of what's going on around us, or external environment or internal environment. And so we need to stop and take a break and a breath, and essentially be more aware of what we're doing. Mindful also means that we're considering the decisions that we're making every step of the way, because there are consequences for all of the stages and steps that we're taking. So we're really wanting women to come together, and as Terry was saying, there's a certain energy that women bring together, but there's also biology as well, because when women get together, we actually release a hormone called oxytocin just by being in our own presence. And oxytocin is considered the love hormone. It's also released when a woman gives birth as well. So there's also that physiology that's also happening. So that's why for sure we will not have facilitators that are men. The facilitators are all women. And I know we've had some, you know, questions about that too as well. It's not about, you know, gender differences and gender exclusion. It's really about we all need space and time for our own needs, and that's very important. And the thing is, women often find it very difficult to take time out for themselves. They think of everyone else first, even in terms of, you know, having food. When the food is getting low, you share it out to everyone else, and what's left is for you most of the time. So this is an opportunity that we say to women, take one day where this is for you, and it's not being selfish. it's taking care of yourself. Because if you are not taking care of yourself, if you're an empty vessel, then you have nothing to offer your family, nothing to offer your community, your work, any other areas that are important to you in your own life. And so this is an opportunity for us to awaken, to restore and reclaim our energies and our powers. We're hoping that women will leave feeling more clear about their journey. You know, a lot of us, so we'll be talking about things like, you know, are you living a near-life experience? We often think of near-death experiences, but a lot of us are living what I call near-life experiences, where we're not really stopping and enjoying, smelling the roses, smelling, looking at the environment, the sky, you know, even just a chance to breathe properly. So we'll be talking and showing women how to breathe, which sounds crazy, but you know, because of course we're breathing, but there are ways to bring the breath to help us energize. And Terry will be talking about nature, and you know, I can let her you know, expand on it in a few minutes. But our natural environment, we are not taking time to really appreciate what it can offer us. The reconnection to nature is so critical, because we are in a time and space where we cannot turn off. You know, we have so many distractions in our lives that we don't have quiet to even hear our heartbeat and to even think. If you don't have that quiet, how can you be clear about where you're going? You're just going with no chance for reflection. So this is one of
I have a question. For a woman who's going and does not have that time for reflection, what are some of the things that could possibly happen?
What we're seeing is a lot of anxiety in our cultures, a lot of depression in our cultures, a lot of anger and aggression, because people are not able to connect to who they are. They've lost their own inner being. They're not authentic. They don't know who their authentic self is. We're living a lot of phantom lives, putting on roles and looking at responsibilities and acting in ways that we don't know. We're so removed from ourselves these days because we're not having those times to do that reflection. One of the things I wanted to say about where the workshop is located, or will be held, I should say, is it's in Moore and Bruce, and it's a beautiful retreat center up just outside on the outskirts of Roseau, and incredible views of nature and the ocean and beautiful grounds, which we will definitely be utilizing as part of the workshop, and doing a lot of exercises that will help us to make that reconnection.
And Terry, in terms of your input and reconnecting to nature, give us a little insight about that.
Right. So, like Sybil said, you know, we need to take time to reflect, turn off the technology. Nature is where we came from, and nature is what keeps us alive, right? So if we're not connecting to nature, we're not connecting to life. We're not allowing life force to move through us and offer us that well-being. There are so many practices that we can do that are so simple, that just allow the mind to calm down, the stress levels to go down, our attention to increase, our memory to increase. It's like, I mean, if nature was like a drug, it would be constantly sold out because it has so many benefits, you know, that we need to take that time just to reconnect with who we are, you know, because we cannot appreciate just the breath, the fact that we're walking on the earth, you know, then what else? You know, it leads us to not appreciate everything else that comes, you know, from.
So how does nature though impact someone's well-being?
On every level, mind, body, spirit, heart. So there's been lots of studies now, right, which is very interesting, that we now have to study the effects of people being in nature, because our world has become so urbanized, so stressed, depressed, and kind of crazy. And the studies now are showing, you know, that the blood pressure goes down, the heart rate normalizes, the stress levels, like they test people's cortisol in their saliva, in their blood, before and after connection with nature, and this can be a nature walk, or it can be a particular practices that they do in nature. The stress levels go down and the mind clears. We can think, we are calmer, we are more receptive and more connected to who we are. Then we can make better choices. To try and make a choice when your mind is cluttered with 1,000 things, you cannot make good choices from that. You cannot make a good choice while you're scrolling on the phone and taking a call and typing a letter and there's all these things going on. We cannot make healthy, conscious choices from there. So it's a moment to take time to reflect and see the simplicity that is available to us. The simplicity of living that actually brings forth greater well-being, greater levels of satisfaction. This is the new affluence.
I like the word that you've just mentioned, and I wanted to ask you a question on simplicity. So for the average person that seem to be living in a modernized culture where we are all bombarded with all of these gadgets, television in our bedrooms, we're lying, but we're looking at CNN, or we're looking at some breaking news that happened. Before something happens, it pops up on our phones. We're on Facebook, and we're bombarded with all these things. How would you now, what would you now say would be maybe some steps to remain simple, live a simple life that basically will enhance your wellness, that will ultimately enhance your life expectancy? So maybe just give us a few steps, maybe even using your own life as an example, as an expert, and maybe just give us a guide. Because even for me, sometimes I find it's so hard to calm down. Yeah. It's like you get up in the morning and your first thing is like you're thinking of work and all the deadlines and all the meetings you have, and then you think you have to pick up the children, and then you have to get home, and then you have to make dinner, and then it just goes on and go. How do you,
So again, it comes back to you cannot change and make conscious choices unless you've spent some time to slow down. So that is why we're having this day, for people to slow down and then move from there.
So the first thing is to take some
time.
time.
So take a day for yourself, right? And really look at what are your values? Is your life aligned with what you value?
So you do a self-audit, something like a self-audit.
Right. And if you're not living according to your values, then those aren't your values. Those are the values you think that you aspire to, that that it looks good, but it's not really what you value because you're not spending time doing it. So
know your values.
Yeah, it requires a shift, and this is a big challenge because we all have obligations, responsibilities, and things to do. But I think aligning with your values is really important. Now, if wellness is your value, then what steps are you going to take to reach that? And that is what we're going to be covering in a broad, holistic way. I mean, on a practical day-to-day level, wake up and breathe a deep breath and give thanks. I think if everybody was waking up with a deep breath and gratitude and thanks, we would see everybody a bit happier than they are right now, Yeah, go on, Civil.
I think even something as simple on a day-to-day basis is being aware of the water that you're drinking. And, fortunately for us in Dominica, if you make the effort, you can get spring water. So the quality of the water that you're drinking, because our bodies are mainly water. And so a lot of us are not even drinking water. We're drinking a lot of sodas and juices and things that don't, again, flush and nourish our body. So something as simple as drinking more water. One of the exercises that we'll be looking to do is to help people look at what we call an energy wheel. Where are you spending most of your time during the day? What activities are you doing, and where are you focusing your energies? And is that where you want to be? If you're spending, most of your time at work or associated with work, then you have no balance in your life, and that imbalance will create a lot of problems for you. So those are some of the kinds of things that we'll be talking about. And it's really for people to begin, it's like a ripple in a river. Just, you're getting those thoughts and ideas, and you start to reflect and say, okay, where is my journey taking me? And is this where I want to be going? And what are the things that have happened in my life currently and have gotten me to the point where I'm feeling stressed, I'm ill, I'm having difficulties in relationships. All of those things are all about the conscious, mindful decisions that we have to make. A lot of us, even something as simple as eating, we're eating too fast. We're on a rush. Sometimes we don't even take lunch, or we don't even have a meal. I do a lot of workshops, and if I'm doing something in the afternoon, I'll ask people, what did you have for breakfast? What did you have for lunch? And a lot of people haven't even eaten by the time I see them at 3 or 4 in the afternoon. How is that possible to not provide fuel for your body and expect that it's going to, your mind, your spirit, somehow support you? That doesn't make sense. So simple, those are the kinds of things that we'll be talking about, and also giving people some tips and ideas about the kinds of things that they could be doing. Your gut health, for example, is very, very important. So we'll talk a little bit about gut health and the things that they can do, foods that they can make to increase the quality of the gut health. So there's a range of things that we'll be providing that's very practical for people so they can start that journey.
So you want to tell us where is you've told us where. I mean, you may want to tell us the date, the time, the fees, and if you need to be registered, if you have time to register.
Yeah, the workshop will be on Saturday, April the 1st, and it starts at 9 o'clock in the morning and goes until about 4. For people who don't have transportation, we will have a bus that can take you up in that morning across from the Royal Bank on the Bay Road. And the cost is $225. We have been reaching out to a lot of corporate entities, a lot of corporations, and so we have corporate rates if you're working in an organization. So, if you are working in an organization and you haven't received any information about the workshop, you can always give me a call at 276-2748, and we can provide you with the corporate rate simply if you're doing that. We also have been reaching out to try to get sponsors for younger women, for example. So we have some complimentary tickets that we'll be giving out. In fact, our new Miss Dominica, Jade Romaine, will be attending the workshop as part of her, helping to just enlighten us about her wonderful journey as a young woman and a remarkable life that she's lived thus far. So we see it as an opportunity for people to be inspired by each other and to learn from each other and to share. So again, if people are interested, there are a couple of places to register. Urban Garden Cafe on Castle Street is a place you can register. Also, the Wellbeing restaurant on Hillsborough Road. And for people in the north, in Calabishi, there is a spot at Mrs. John's Health Center where people can also register if you're in the north. But you can also WhatsApp me at 276-2748.
Definitely.
Well,
and we would like registrants by Wednesday of next week. I know that we are last minute cultures, but we have to prepare things, and food has to be prepared. So we really need to have some confirmation of our people's attendance by next Wednesday.
Excellent.
Okay. Well, we have come to the end of our program today, and we want to thank you, Dr. Jones and Terry Henry, for being here today and sharing all of this wonderful information. I hope all of our ladies, even our men, were listening, because some of the things you can incorporate as well. Make sure you take time for yourself. Do a self-audit. Really evaluate
your values.
Right. And then take the steps to make those changes, according to what you value and the life that you want to live later on. So thank you both for so much for being here this morning.
Thank you.
And,
So here you have it again, Dominica, on Health Vibes. We're saying goodbye to you until next week. I'm your host, Carlton. Go out and do something productive today.
And I'm Pearl Fontaine Butler. Take care.
Bye-bye.
You're listening to Health Vibes. You were listening to Health Vibes, a production of Jolly's Pharmacy Limited.